2022. Now, I'd like to call upon the dignitaries of today's function, Dr. S. Kausalya Madam, Registrar, Avinash Lingam Institute for Home Science and Higher Education for Women, Coimbatore, and our beloved Director, Dr. Sridevi Annapurna Singh, Director, CSIR CFTRI, Mysuru, and Dr. Alok Kumar Srivastava, President, AFSTI. I request Dr. Nandini Shetty Madam to please escort them onto the stage. It's our great honor to have you all with us today. We shall begin the program with an invocation song. I request Ms. Divya Suresh to render the invocation song. Over to you, Divya.
Ya kundendu tusharharadavalam, ya shubhravastravrutam, या वीणावरदण्डमण्डितकर या श्वेतपद्मासन या ब्रह्माच्युतशङ्कर प्रभुदिपे देवी सदा वन्दिता सा मां पातु सरस्वती भगवती निश्चेष्य जाड्यापः गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरा गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरा गुरुर्साक्षात् परब्रह्मा तस्मै श्री गुरुवे नमः.
Thank you, Divya. Now, I request Dr. Alok Kumar Srivastava, President AFSTI, to give a welcome address and brief about AFSTI. Over to you, sir.
Very warm welcome and good morning to all present here. Respected Dr. Kaushalya ma'am, Dr. Sridevi Annapurna Singh, all the staff, students of Institute, executives of AFSTI, members, welcome once again for this Nutrition Day celebration. As mentioned, usually it is on 28th May, but taking it as a week, we celebrate it, and it is pleasure to be with all of you. As you know that AFST formed in 1957 in this prestigious premises of CFTRI. So it is a privilege and honor of all the members of AFST to be housed in this empowering and knowledge center of food science and technology, which is CFTRI. And that helps us because most of the strength comes from the institute. So we derive the strength from that. And I really cherish that and thanks these institutions for all those support. I take this opportunity to welcome Dr. S. Kausalya ma'am from Avinash Lingam Institute of Home Science and Higher Education, Coimbatore. She is the authority in the area of nutrition. You will hear about her when she is formally introduced. And it is our privilege that she has come here to share her vast knowledge on the area of nutrition and health. She will be talking on the theme. I request our director, Dr. Sridevi Annapurna Singh ji, to kindly welcome her with flower of bouquets. Thank you. I take the honor, privilege to welcome our director, Dr. Sridevi Annapurna. Just to take few minutes to briefly introduce the students about the Association of Food Scientists and Technologists India. It's a network of almost 4,000 plus professionals in the food sector, industry, academics, and all those policy makers involved in the food sector. It is, by one estimate, it is said that almost 50% of all those people involved in the food sector are directly or indirectly connected with the Association of Food Scientists and Technologists India. You know that our major activity is basically to advance the knowledge in the food sector, all the areas, food technology, food science, food engineering, and also in the field of health and wellness through this various conferences which we do, and also publications which we make. You must have either published or you must have cited your various articles from JFST, Journal of Food Science and Technology, and also which is one of the, I think I can say, the top first journal in India in the food sector with very high impact factor. And then we also publish Indian Food Industry, which is a techno-commercial journal dealing with food sector, and which is having also very wide circulation among most of the stakeholders. We also conduct regular seminars like current one, and to mark several occasions, including like World Food Safety Day, World Food Day, and also today. We also conduct several lectures, seminars to commemorate our doyens in the field. Regular conferences we do, which is ICFOST every year, and IFCON every 5 years, where most of the country and all round world, the expert will gather and share the knowledge among the youngsters. So it would be right, if anybody has not become the member, you may consider it. So with this, I would welcome you once again for this seminar, and we look forward to hear from two extreme experts in the area. Dr. Sridevi Annapurna Singh ji, who has already worked most, and this theme is very close to her heart. She has always the passion towards working for the children, women, towards improving their health through various programs, be it in Odisha government, Karnataka government, or West Bengal and several other states. So we all look forward to hear from two experts here on the theme. Thank you very much, ma'am.
Thank you very much, sir, for welcoming and briefing about AFSTI. Now I request Dr. Nandini Shetty, Honorary Secretary AFSTI, to please hand over a bouquet to Dr. Alok Kumar Srivastava, President AFSTI. Now I request Dr. Ashutosh A. Inamdar, Vice President AFSTI, to talk about World Nutrition Day. Over to you, sir.
Dr. Kausalya ma'am, Dr. Sridevi Annapurna Singh ma'am, Dr. Alok Srivastava, Dr. Nandini ma'am, dignitaries of the dais, staff of CFTRI, students, and ladies and gentlemen. Good morning to all of you. I'm here to talk about what is World Nutrition Day. So I have some points drafted. So World Nutrition Day is being celebrated every year on 20th of May 2022, 20th of May across the globe. The occasion is marked to spread awareness about the importance of the right nutrition. This day was formed by the World Health Organization with the aim of raising awareness about the importance of eating properly to nourish the body and have a good health. Furthermore, this day promotes worldwide awareness and action for those who suffer from hunger and for the need to ensure healthy diets for all, leaving no one behind. As you are, all of you are aware, providing good nutrition is important for healthy well-being. Proper nutrition is a prerequisite for smooth functioning of the body. Nutrition not only ensures healthy growth, but it also decreases the risk of various diseases. A well-balanced and a healthy diet help in balancing the correct proportion of nutrients, but the understanding of the basics of the nutrition is the simple key that helps you to nourish with the correct nutrients. However, millions of people around the world cannot afford a healthy diet, putting them at the high risk of food insecurity and malnutrition. However, ending hunger isn't only about the supply of food, as food is there in abundance to feed everyone on the planet. The major problem is access and availability of the nutritious food, which is increasingly impeded by multiple challenges, such as lack of awareness about nutrition, climate change, inequality, rising prices, pandemic, and international crisis among the countries. People around the world are suffering the domino effect of the challenges that know no borders. Nutrition is of the utmost importance, especially in the times that we are living today. The importance of good nutrients in the diet cannot be stated enough for maintaining the body's overall health and well-being. Even though all want to be healthy and adopt practices that improve our overall well-being, due to our hectic lifestyles and stress, we are ignoring certain health basics that could go a long way in achieving our fitness goals. In the face of global crisis, global solutions are needed more than ever. By aiming for better production, better nutrition, a better environment, a better life, we can transform agri-food systems and build forward better by implementing sustainable and holistic solutions that consider development in long-term, inclusive economic growth, and greater resilience. To prioritize the right of all people to food security and nutrition, it is important that the government, industry, academia, and the society individuals need to work together to bring a solution to this important problem. Nutrition, food science, and technology being core mandate of AFSTI, we are happy to organize today the program where two eminent speakers will share their views on the importance of nutrition. And what better place than CFTRI does AFSTI get, which I consider is a mecca of food science and nutrition, to celebrate this occasion. I welcome you all for today's program and hope all of you enjoy the talk. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. It was indeed an informative talk. I request all the dignitaries to please have a seat amongst the audience so that we can begin with talk. Now, I request Dr. Suresh D. Sakare, Honorary Joint Secretary, AFSTI, to introduce our chief guest, Dr. Kausalya.
ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ. A very warm good morning to all of you. Today we are gathered here to celebrate the World Nutrition Day, and on this occasion to opt to the Today's program, we are having the India's renowned nutritionist Kausalya ji as the chief guest of this function, and it is my pleasant duty and honor to introduce ma'am. Dr. Kausalya, yes, is presently working as a registrar and the professor for the Avinashi Lingam Institute of Home Science and Higher Education for Women. She started her career in 1991 as a lecturer in the same institute, and then she rose to the position of professor in 2009. She did her PhD in food science and nutrition. She is having a gold medalist, received gold medalist for her both PG and the UG courses. Congratulations, madam, for this. And then she is also ICR fellowship got for her PG program. Her area of research and expertise is in the nutritional biochemistry, micronutrient availability, community nutrition, nutraceuticals, nutrigenomics, and nanotechnology. She has handled the several projects as a PI and co-PI, which is sponsored by the central government agencies as well as the private firms. To name few of them, it is UGC, DST, DBT, and others. She has mentored more than 60 MSc theses as a project, 22 PhD theses, 22 MPhil theses. She has guided 7 PhD students, and currently she is having 8 PhD students guiding. She is also having 2 patents published, which is onto the micronutrient-rich biscuits and the sport NutriBar. She has published more than 84 research papers into the national and the international journal, and she has 13 books to her credit. She has several awards received in her career. To name few of them, she is the Best Teacher Award by the CIA, Tamil Nadu Scientist Award. This is one of the reputed award in the field of social science received from the Honorable Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu. She has Rajmahal P. Devdas Memorial Award. She also received the P.K. Das Memorial Award. So she has several awards to her credit. Apart from this, she has visited so many foreign countries for the collaboration work. To name few of them are Sweden, Canada, South Korea, Tanzania, and Mongolia. So with this brief introduction, once again I welcome Madam for today's function and request you to deliver the talk. Thank you.
At the outset, good morning everyone and namaskaram. Good morning and honorable and respected Director of the prestigious CSIR CFTRI Mysuru, which we think from Avinashi Lingam Institute as one side of the coin along with NIL for learning and also sharing the knowledge. And I'm deeply indebted to the Honorary President, Secretary, and all the others from AFST for inviting me today for this important meet on the World Nutrition Day, as the officials have already expressed that 28th May, and we are celebrating throughout the week. And today is World Milk Day also, 1st June 2022, 1st June. So I feel all the more happy that I am here at CFTRI, and I thank for this great opportunity. And I thank Dr. Srivatsava, the President of AFS. job giver to others, her colleagues, or maybe become an industrialist also. So I come from an institute which was founded by Dr. T.S. Avinashlingam. We call him as Ayya. And he started Ramakrishna Mission Vidyalaya in Coimbatore for empowerment of boys. And Avinashlingam Home Science College in 1957. I think AFST was also founded in 1957. So our trust started in 52 and school, and later as college in 1957. And even right now we have 70% of first generation learners as from rural background as students from different parts of India, including Manipur, Arunachal Pradesh, and so many other parts of 17 states of India they are representing. And we have around 8,600 students representing women community from India. And he started this to empower women with science and technology, and also for culture and heritage. And I just wanted to give a piece of information. That is why I put his photograph. We call him Ayya. He was the first. He was a lawyer by profession, but he was a disciple of Sri Ramakrishna, a close friend of Mahatma Gandhi. And he started our institution, and he was an education minister of the Madras Providence, which was covering Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, Kerala, and also Karnataka. Later, he just quit politics and he became a leader to start the institution and empower women and men. And this is the slide where you can see here, we are all here, but for Dr. M.S. Swaminathan, the living legend, who is for food security with Green Revolution. He has worked with Dr. C. Subramaniam. On the extreme left, we have Dr. C. Gopalan, the father of nutritional sciences in India, who lived for 101 years, and we lost him recently. And we have in the center Dr. Rajamal P. Devadas, along with our founder, Dr. Avinashlingam Ayya. Dr. Rajamal P. Devadas, an international home scientist and nutritionist who mentored all of us and made the institution grow from the college to an autonomous institution under Bharatiyar University. And later in 88, we became deemed university. We are proud to say we are one of the 8 deemed universities funded by UGC, that is from MHRD. And Amma, as all of you know, was very close to CFTRI, which I will speak later in my last 2 or 3 slides. And she worked for the community, and lab to land was the mantra at that time. Even now we have a community nutrition camp for our first PG students who will have to go to the community, live with the community, assess the nutritional status of the households by doing anthropometry, biochemical assessment, clinical with the help of the physician, and also nutrition education and diet survey. So they stay for 7 days, and based on the deficiencies, they give the nutrition education in the local language with the different nutrition education materials they give. So this is what, and Amma was close to CFTRI right from the earlier days, and our PG students, I understand from our teachers, stayed for 1 month training at CFTRI, and we would like to revive after COVID that kind of relationship. And as we all of us know, this is the mantra, though it was laid down by Hippocrates. We say, let food be thy medicine, and medicine be thy food. Then coming to this slide, I have given the emphasis. All of us know what is about nutrition, what is the importance of nutrition, because it's World Nutrition Day. I think every day is Nutrition Day, because though we are scientists, we are all consumers. We eat, we perform, we grow, and we make others grow and perform in their activities. That is the role of the nutrition scientists. And all the more I'm happy that AFST is an Asia Pacific, that is, it's a great professional organization with 4,000 members right from 1957, representing academia and industry. So here you see the My Plate for the day from ICMR. So just think about our consciousness. We work in our lab, either as a food protein chemist, or as a fat oil chemist, or some other nutraceutical scientist. So do we really say that we follow this, though we prepare ready-to-eat products, are we meeting the RDA as per the ICMR? So it's not RDA for nutrients, but just like that, say the large portion of cereals and millets to the tune of 340 grams per day are we consuming, and are we prepared ourselves physically, mentally, and socially to meet the International Year of 2023 as the millet year? So here cereals and millets, and then we have the protein to the tune of say 1 gram per kg when we say as adult, but along with the egg and fleshy foods it's 90 grams, and large amounts of green leafy vegetables and fruits, say for example 100 grams we have to consume. And milk, are we consuming milk and dairy products, other curd like 300 grams? It is not a measure, but it is the attitude that how we consume our meal divided into as mainly as breakfast. Most of us, especially women, I think we try to skip even the breakfast. We try to help others in the family. We just have one idli or one dokla or whatever may be yours breakfast and come straight. But as we know, the morning breakfast gives us energy and the enthusiasm and the brain for the food that we have to have. So where are we practicing and where are we in the place of advocacy? Those are the same from Harvard School. It is also in different angle, but it is the same predominantly vegetables and fruits and also cereals and millets. I didn't want to give you in terms of RDA, as all of us know, we have the ready food composition data and RDA of 2017 of ICMR. This is again in terms of portions. When we say as portions, we should, I think we have all become adults, but of course there are some adolescent to adult stages of people who are doing research also. You will become mothers to be soon, so mothers also soon. So you should become, it should become a practice that how you teach the younger babies or even the school going to make themselves learn as what is portion control, how you make in cup size, and that is to be mandatory. It is not as per the, fancy or as per the culture or as per the modernization we say in terms of science and technology. For example, our university or all home science colleges are actively involved in educating the community. As CFTRI or as AFST, you are bringing out thousands of products, and last week I was happy to see the tech program summit going on, and 3 products which was launched, like say for example idli batter or the sambar powder. It is okay, but where we go as in consumption, that is the point. Though we go for modernization and ready to eat all that is there, but are we consuming? Are we making our family consume the right food? That is the fundamental for World Nutrition Day. And again, this is the same for infants and other adolescents and school-going children. And as you see here, sorry. So coming to the title given was, I didn't change the title, Nutrition and Lifestyle, Disease Management. So what is that makes us really think that we should do a modification? Or some people maybe in the audience are following this lifestyle practices really good, because I saw a yoga mat in my guest house room. I was really happy. I didn't have much time, but otherwise I would have done the Surya Namaskar. And that is the best way how we do, or maybe a walking, or a brisk walking for 20 minutes or so. It is a beautiful environment here. Even on June, we are going to celebrate the World Yoga Day, for which even the government is taking much efforts. So what are lifestyle disorders per se or diseases? As per the Journal of Cardiology and current research, it is all that primarily which is based on day-to-day habits of people. You can watch this. Habits which make the people from activity, and accordingly how we are exposed to the various chronic non-communicable disorders or lifestyle disorders per se. And finally, I have just given the good news is that all the lifestyle disorders are preventable. You underline this. This should be the mantra that what you are going to make your lifestyle, youngsters here, and also teach the community and your family at large. So here you say this is metabolic syndrome. Many of us are talking about this. And the sedentary lifestyle has made us really come to this stage, and the percentage is increasingly, it is alarming. And this disorder, it is a cluster based on insulin resistance, dyslipidemia, central obesity, and hypertension. And as you see here, I have given the 5 markers: waist circumference, how it is a standard for men and women, and blood pressure we know, and fasting triglycerides also we know what is a benchmark, and fasting high density lipoprotein cholesterol, if we take now as random, what will be, and fasting even less than 40. So, and also the fasting blood sugar 100. So out of all the 5, any 3, that is, this is based on the ATP criteria, adult treatment panel, all of you know 3 criteria. Any 3 are there, then it is said to be, the person is said to have metabolic syndrome. And what are the causes? We know already, but we all of us know, but here a lecture is given. So I'm just giving. It is altered eating habits. We eat in a hurry. We don't take time even to munch the food with saliva, enough saliva, though we study about right from 6th standard the absorption and the physiology of the entire absorption and the carbohydrate, so much about it, and the germination, why we do for ARF and all that. And sedentary living and over-dependence on processed foods. And though as a scientist we are interested in releasing the ready-to-eat products, I think even now if you give me a grinding stone for a puliyodara mix, I will grind a dal chutney. I like that. I used to do if I have time. But some of you, I think youngsters, whether you have seen a grinding stone for chutney, which I always equal to and tell my students it's like a horse rider in a gym. Is it not? The way that you do it, it is like the machines are done in a way that you do in a gym, the activity. It is equivalent to the way, and I am waiting for a proposal to get clear on the household activities of a traditional housewife compared to the modern housewife with all the gadgets at home. So you know smoking and alcohol for many of the disorders. Of course, poor exposure to light. Right from school, we were all exposed to assembly, standing there for half an hour. I remember if I was late, I was used to run the entire ground for 5 times, where I had the exposure to sun and the calcium conversion and the exposure to vitamin D and absorption per se. But now we all sit, and when you go home, even the working mothers, when you get something, packed foods, even go home, the children are happy with that, and they start working in computers and see the mobile phone. That's become a habit, and students and children have become addicted to. So how we engage them in activities pertaining to their brain is also a challenge of a mother and the parents as well. And stress, I want to underline, poor sleeping habits and sleep. I mean, this is altered sleeping pattern, and one student wanted to do research on this, especially during COVID, how this has affected the nutritional status and also their work performance. And of course, stress, our director was telling, even without COVID, all of us have, and COVID-19 has altered our lifestyle. That's what I repeatedly tell. if you have a systematic life in the sense you get up early in the morning, do prayer, yogasana, all that becomes a practice when you're in the hostel or when you're in a value-based education. So what are these lifestyle disorders? We can say as well as non-communicable disorders. You can see here in India, the prevalence is increasing right from 8.5 in terms of blood pressure, fasting blood glucose, total cholesterol, body mass index, and also impaired kidney function. This you would have noticed in several persons. What may be? There may be multiple reasons for the alteration in kidney functions, but many of them have their altered creatinine and go to the kidney center in later stages. So what advocacy we have to give? Even people do not know, the educated people do not relate to protein and kidney. That is also there in physiology. They do not know, and they end up in really a loss and an imbalance in life at a later state. So what is this lifestyle diseases? 80% of total lifestyle diseases in the world, 43%, that's the latest data of 2019 from WHO, cardiovascular disease, cancer 22, respiratory disorders 10, diabetes 3.65, and overnutrition cause for obesity, especially central obesity, and overweight 39%. We will see the NFHS and NNMB data at a later stage. And here I have given you NFHS 5, which was recently released from the Prime Minister's office, that in India, the total percentage, as you see here, obesity, waist-hip ratio, CVD, then high blood sugar, and all these, including the cancers and all that, in India, the total percentage in men and women is found to be less. Can you just see? And Tamil Nadu, compared to Tamil Nadu, since I'm coming to Karnataka, you can always refer to this data. Karnataka, the prevalence is little less compared to even Tamil Nadu. It is because of the different lifestyle practices and the consumption pattern too. And we said in 1960s, malnutrition, and most of the studies from CFTRI, NIN, or from our own institute concentrated on protein, energy, malnutrition, still it is there, but compared to the protein, energy, malnutrition per se, we have triple burden of nutrition, where we see undernutrition among children, wasting and stunting. This is one of the objectives of all of you know. It is the Poshan Ma, which our Prime Minister has given the solution as we are taking larger efforts to bring down this wasting and stunting among children also. And another one is that the sustainable one is to grow gardens, community gardens, and also the kitchen garden. And number two is that it is micronutrient deficiency, we say as hidden hunger, and also we say the overweight. All the three together as triple burden of malnutrition and prevalence of cancer. This is worldwide data among women and men. You can see this is very alarming, and we know that this is again lifestyle, and till one stage is reached, we are not able to give the dietary guidance. Already they are in a stage where the other treatment has to be taken up. And risk factors, as all of us know, modifiable, non-modifiable, and metabolic risk factors, all the three are linked. I said it is preventable. Diet, physical activity, sleep, and stress makes very important. And bone health, we are bothered about this, often fractures, and we talk about vitamin D, sunlight exposure. So recent studies have shown by different authors that physical activity in school-going children, which is found to influence vitamin D status in blood, and also supplementation from fortified milk also enhances the serum vitamin D status. And this we know, there are Asian cutoffs for obesity and also international guidelines, and I don't want to reinforce this. This is thus the data we are following, as whether 23 or 25 as the normal weight. And diabetes mellitus, of course, we know the causes, the symptom also. But even among the educated people, sometimes even in our own university, we have found people with with more blood glucose, and they faint, and found that they suffer from diabetes, which they were not detected. So going to the doctor above 40, 45 and taking a master checkup is also fundamental in order to, we know about 110 milligram, but how far we are testing and following. And physical activity is very, very important for the enhancement in insulin secretion. And there are many studies all over, including Siddha, Ayurveda, allopathy, and also food-related researches. I don't want to say, still hypertension is also a problem. And this is also a word of the era that we say people are stressed, they say tension. But hypertension is also a problem, and pregnancy-related hypertension is another problem among pregnant women. And CVDs, as we know, above 40% globally is a lifestyle disorder. And as all of you know, I'm not going to repeat what is an angina. You can, if somebody wants, you can take the message from the slides also. And this is also becoming, sleep apnea is becoming very common. Either obstructive sleep apnea, common type of sleep apnea where the airway is blocked or become narrow, or central sleep apnea where it is not blocked but the brain fails to direct respiratory muscles to breathe. Or there may be a disorder of both. This is also a way of lifestyle disorder. And where are we to talk about nutrition and food? What are the measures in these lifestyle disorders? Functional foods, you know, it is a era, and we find different definitions. We know apart from RDA, it provides to prevent the disorders, especially the lifestyle disorders we have seen so far. So we talk in terms of functional food, or as nutraceutical, or as designer foods, and many of you would have even patented some of the designer foods also. And so we define this way as what is a functional food. And of course, what these foods do, you can relate to the previous lifestyle disorders where as reduce risk for cancer, CVD, diabetes and aging, an increased immune response, which is very, very important. That is why during COVID, during the past 20 years, people didn't know when we couldn't get the rations or when we couldn't get the food commodities, we went for different spices and herbs. That definitely some decoction or some other herbal tea was fundamental to all of us. Now we have little forgotten, but I'm carrying wherever we go. I even bring to my office. I have a small box with pepper or with cardamom or with others, and I have it habit to eat even when I go to the temple, offer the bitter leaf when I come back. Earlier I used to not so much, but now I don't leave even the bitter leaf. I eat along with others at least one bitter leaf per day, which is also a good source like any other green leafy vegetables, but also gives as an immune response. And also preservation of the integrity of the intercellular matrices, and of course all the phytochemicals and antioxidants and increased activity of the enzymes and detoxifying mechanisms for the carcinogens. So one is this, we always classify as plant foods, animal foods, and also for the prebiotics. For a vegetarian, again, prebiotics becomes very, very important if they are non-consuming either the egg or fleshy foods. Prebiotics is a must where we get the vitamins to a larger extent. And there are many studies, even maybe from your own laboratory, how the prebiotic intake has reduced the total cholesterol, LDL cholesterol, you can say enhancement of HDL, and also the total cholesterol, I mean the lipidemia per se. And I need not say the phytochemicals in fruits and vegetables, but I wanted to emphasize, because this is World Nutrition Day, and I wanted to re-emphasize the youngsters that seeing is believing. When you are in the hostel, try to consume more amounts of salads. This is what I say, even in a hostel room. You can always say, prepare a pani puri or something in your own room with some rice, then with all the vegetables, then with coriander. You prepare that, or maybe in your room you can prepare. And we know the Nobel Prize winning for the isolation of alpha, beta, and gamma carotene. I just, HPLC, I got trained at NIN in the food chemistry laboratory, and this was my PhD topic, bioavailability of carotenoids and beta carotene per se, where we get lots of lutein from green leafy vegetables. That is what I want to, even while cooking, 50% got retained. So that is very good for the macular degeneration, even for cataract, for the retina, you can even give for advocacy. So where we just see here all that red. So all that red is very good, including the simplest lycopene. But today in Tamil Nadu, I do not know the cost. Kg of tomato is 100 rupees. So today I can't say lycopene is cheap in Tamil Nadu, but you can say even the strawberries, which are good for urinary tract infections. So this also vegetables, as you see here, cauliflower, broccoli has become really the order of the day. But based on the locally available greens from your gardens, you can go. Of course, all these contain the fundamental, the flavonoids, the other types of phytochemicals, all these. Spinach is very good. Of course, for students, for children, we had the story of Popeye, but spinach is easy to consume along with chapati or even with dal, by addition of dal with rice. So what are these herbal and green foods? As I said, we were dependent during COVID, and this continues, and your laboratory has done a lot of research on cancer, anti-cancer potentials, anti-diabetic potentials, and antioxidant potentials of all these herbs. Of course, I live in a flat, and I have a passion for garden. I couldn't do because it's a common garden. This is, I raised, and I have still 15 days. Once in 15 days, I harvest the araikirai, we say in Tamil. It's the simplest amaranth down. And I just cut the coriander and fenugreek leaves as microgreens and use. And also the palak I use. And you can see here, pulichakire is nothing but the gongura that we prepare the chutney. So when in small space you can, why not you have really a good garden? And this is a way of incorporating in the meal the amaranthus kire in the form of poriyal or sabji, we can say. This is my preparation, all these. And salads. And of course, I don't know how many of you like, you may eat the banana, but how many of you may like the pumpkin and the papaya and the benefits of papaya you should enjoy. And it's a mango eating season that I want you to enjoy. And the two powders which I have given here is what I usually prepare home drying scale at home. It is the drumstick leaves powder and the curry leaves powder, so which I prepare and keep for 15 days. And I just spray this in any of the sabjis so that even if they take the curry leaves and put the dried powder when I get in large amounts. Though you do commercially by using. So what is the other end of lifestyle diseases? How the holistic health is looked after. So all of us know, huge means to join. So referring to the union of body, mind, and soul, we have to do yoga. This was the practice. But meditation, because it is a stressful world, I think sitting and meditating for a while in the morning gives us really inner peace and will bring you enthusiasm for the whole day. And this is a life cycle approach to even improve the food and nutrition security in India. On one side, we have social, physical, and other types of awareness, and the way forward is to make women empower and participate in all the programming, right from farming, and also based on the innovations of the new schemes that the government has introduced, and also in ICDS and midday meal scheme has become a very large program. Though this is a large program, another two programs right from 1970s, all of you know, National Prophylaxis Anemia Program and Vitamin A Program. But still 53, that is 53 to 60% of children are anemic in India. Pregnant and lactating mother or anemic. Even we did a study sponsored recently by Nutrition Foundation of India. 50% of our own school, college students are anemic. And managing LCDs, the lifestyle approach again, you can see the healthy diet versus a unhealthy diet, and how exercise. Maybe you can go for a gym, you can do walking, brisk walking, and also what you do, you can put a dance, you can even do a dance, you can put music, you can do many types are available. So somewhere energy expenditure has to be done. You can't afford to lead a sedentary life at all. So maybe cycling, maybe other types of activities which you are interested in sport. So these are the way to learn to live stress-free life. And we are sitting in office, and how to sit and work, the normal posture will help you alleviate the pain, or maybe long time spondylitis also. So how some way dancing, see in those days we had, when the car festival comes, we have in Coimbatore two, like a Bommalatam, it will be, I don't know what you say in Kannada, it will be like a dance, so all that used to be the school days, energy activities, energy expenditure activities. Maybe you're shy at this age, but you can do a throw ball or a volleyball or even tennis or cricket. You can do whatever it is, but apart from this, you should have a stress-free life and you should be really active. So I just wanted to say what are the measures of wellness, having seen nutrition and also lifestyle, good sleeping time, social interactions, a very good positive social interactions, unsolved relationships, whether at office or in family, should be solved. So, of course, eliminate toxins, eating fresh foods, exercise routines. This supports the social support system. These are the physical activity guidelines that for Indians, this is very systematic, all of you will know. And these are the 12 poses of Surya Namaskar. It will enhance the flexibility of muscles and also help the bones, enzymes to secrete, hormones to secrete. So many things can be normalized. I think unless you experience it, you will not be able to enjoy and see the fruits of this. Coming to a few studies from the general topic which my research group have done. It is on the nutraceutical potentials of black rice, food-based antioxidant mix, caroteno oil, and nano-encapsulated lycopene, and also on nanoparticles of almonds and ulva fasciata, green seaweed. So here you see black rice. Black rice is becoming popular. It is also cultivated near the Ramanathapuram district in Tamil Nadu, as you know, in Manipur and other places. And this, one of my research group, others are continuing. Black rice, it is acceptable. We have done a lot of recipes with white rice and black rice. And because of the potentials of I think the anthocyanidin pigments, cyanidine and glucosides, and also the peonidine glucosides, and their antioxidant potentials is very high, and we have proved the anti-diabetic activity in rats, and we are working on the GI and the human model also now, right now, and most of the recipes are acceptable. And here we have done a small study wherein it is an extension work of a larger study of an antioxidant food base, where we have worked on metabolic syndrome, and we have done some work on the SNP, single nucleotide polymorphism. All of you know that PPR gamma receptor 2 is known to be associated with adipogenicity in terms of metabolic syndrome. So we have worked on, there is a lacuna of data in Asia, not much data is available in Asian population. So we worked on male subjects who are affected with the metabolic syndrome, and the frequency of this Pro12 ALA polymorphism we just estimated, and the prevalence was found to be 25%, and Pro12 ALA carriers are prone to develop metabolic syndrome rather than Pro12 carriers among the selected subjects, and maybe the ALA allele might be a contributing factor for the development. That is what we have suggested, and we have written also a project we are awaiting to continue the study. And another antioxidant mix, we just wanted to say that how it has improvised the quality of the breast cancer subjects with the help of the Human Ethical Committee and the hospitals nearby. We just developed the antioxidant foods and gave them along with education. It enhanced and they were happy and improved the quality of the cancer subjects by reducing the oxidative stress caused by treatment per se. It was done along with the supplementation was given along with the treatment. And this is one caroteno oil we got from the company. This is red palm oil 20% and 80% canola. This we studied the anti-diabetic properties in rats, and of course on healthy volunteers it enhanced the antioxidant status. And nanogelatin encapsulated lycopene in vitro, we were able to develop the GR and also from the lycopene, and we just measured the nanoparticles size, and also this was an in vitro model. The cytotoxic effects were seen on human breast cancer cell lines, and the cell cycle progression was inhibited effectively, proving to the nanogelatin encapsulated lycopene as an efficient marker. And coming to the body composition which I spoke, again it is the same study. We have extended, I have given the other indices as to in Pro12 ALA variant, greater BMI, visceral fat, person body fat, and obesity compared to Pro12 wild type. In another study, almonds, this project was sponsored by Institute of Applied Research, Pune. In fact, those engineers were interested in alternate medicine, and these almonds we say are good, but what we did was, we just prepared a nano paste with 2 grams, like the chandan powdering stone. We prepared a nano paste and supplemented for 3 months to the subjects with hypercholesteremia as per ATP3 criteria, and HDL cholesterol increased and other cholesterol factors decreased to a larger extent. This was one study, and we found that the nanoparticle, it became in a nano paste, nanoparticle size was even 90, below 100 by SEM and other assays that we checked. Of course, at that time we didn't have the scanning electron microscope. This was done at University of Pune. So this vulva fasciata is another study we have worked. Our group is working on the seaweeds, the macroalgae, red, green and brown algae. Vulva fasciata is one green algae which is very common, and it is also exported from Ramanathapuram district, Mandapam area. This was authenticated, and of course we developed the extracts and ultrasonification and nanoparticles. This was done in Swiss albino mice against DAL cells with controls, and definitely based on the observations with the lifespan and also decreased proliferation of cells, anti-cancer activity of these vulva fasciata was proved, and other studies are also going in our laboratory. And this is another interesting study we did with DST. It was a community-based study on combating anemia among preschool children and school-going children at Tondamuttur, a village in Coimbatore, where we gave the green leafy vegetables in the form of dried powder incorporated with cereal pulses as a laddu after deworming for a longer period, and we tried to see improvements in hemoglobin. But of course, the sustainable way is to develop a garden. So in community garden, they were not able to get greens at all. So we were motivating the self-help group to develop the gardens, And also on school premises and all the households, we were able to develop garden, and this is a roof kitchen garden of the green leafy vegetables, which I used to always, when we go there, even now, after the project is continued, because this is our National Service Scheme area, NSS area, so we used to go and check how. So this is all about the scientific facts that how nutrition right from RDA, our lifestyle, and where we are, where we have to take the nutrition to the community and also to our families and to ourselves per se. And next is a very interesting slide. Actually, I was talking about Dr. Rajamal P. Devadas, and I wanted to know that we are publishing even now the Indian Journal of Nutrition and Dietetics, which is in UGC Care, and you can publish in this journal also. Dr. S.P. Tyagarajan is our editor-in-chief, and I am the editor, and our director, madam, is on the Indian advisory board. And we have Dr. Prakash, we have Dr. Jamna Prakash. Earlier we have visited for many NSI and other scientific work also. You may be wondering why I am showing this. When I traveled for the IUNS meeting some years back when Amma was alive to Canada, Amma said, I started this journal as an editor, and this was published at Mysore for 2-3 years, initially in 1964. So the journal now called Indian Journal was Journal of Nutrition and Dietetics in 1964. So from our journal office, I took the the February issue of 1964. You can see here Dr. Rajamal P. Devadas as the managing editor, and you can see also Dr. Rajagopalan and also Dr. Venkatrao as the associate editors, and many are from CFTRI scientists as the editorial board. And invariably, you can just see here, this is the publication evidence that we have to give for the, as a rule, that this was published by one Mr. Rama Rao from the Mysore printing house at Mysore. So I can imagine Dr. Rajamal P. Devadas, whom we address as Amma Avargal, 5 feet only Amma was, and she used to be an amazing lady with all enthusiasm throughout the life for coordinating our university with all other leading universities, including India. You can imagine, one lady published the journal with all CFTRI. So I want to thank on behalf of our editorial team and our institution, the then CFTRI, all the editors. And you can see here the volume, everything, declaration that they have given. And can you see that journal's articles? It has 9 to 13 articles there, 3 review articles and others were research articles. And one only, maybe it is very faint, one only is Dr. Rajamal Devadas et al. On some protein mixtures and all that. All other 12 articles were from CFTRI, exclusively Dr. Parpiya, Dr. Venkatrao, Dr. Srinivasan, all the others. I don't know how they did research, how they wrote the manuscript. They had the energy. I think this is the enthusiasm. I told my students that you should know how to write. Maybe you will do because it's mandatory in SCI. There it is mandatory too, at least in UGC Care or Web of Science or Scopus to submit the PhD thesis. And this is where I thought I share with you this experience of this. So the association days back, and we started in 1957, AFST started in 57, and from 1964, now we are, our press is publishing. And here, can you see, in all the volumes of, it was a quarterly then, in between it became 12 issues and again a quarterly. And this is a declaration of the, about the AFSTI, the then AFST. Can you imagine in each volume, the issue, one page is about Indian Journal. There were a few advertisements and also about the AFST. At that time, it is Association of Food Technologists only. So it says that the functioning of the functions of AFST, the then AFT, and it says 500 members they have. Now you have 4,000 members, and it says admission fee 1 rupee, and 5 rupees for the journal. Can you imagine? We have grown and you have become with Springer such a big, publication with all the high impact factor. Our president talked about it and others also talked about it. So our journal has an association with the AFST and has with CFTRA and with scientists. So we want to revive, and I thank the director and all the office bearers, right from the president. And these are the references. And thank you. So this is the association, and we want to revive the association because it is the gaining knowledge and expanding horizons of the knowledge via students to the community, and we are here to enhance the nutritional status and lifestyle of the community. Thank you, madam, for inviting me, and thank you, president, and all the office bearers, including the honorary secretary, for this podium today. Thank you so much. Thank you. If there are any questions, I'll be happy. You can also write to my mail ID. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, ma'am, for such an informative talk. I'm sure all the audience are enlightened about the importance of nutrition, lifestyle, and disease management, which goes very well with the saying, "We are what we eat." For kind information, we are happy to share the information that today's program is being streamed online on YouTube as well. Now, I request Dr. Alok Kumar Srivastava to give away the memento to Dr. Kausalya as a token of gratitude. Thank you, sir. Now I call upon Dr. Naveen Shivanna, immediate past treasurer, AFSTI, to introduce today's guest of honor, Dr. Sridevi Annapurna Singh, Director, CSAR CFTRI. Over to you, sir.
ಧನ್ಯವಾದಗಳು ದಿವ್ಯ. ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ನನ್ನ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ. It is my privilege and honor to introduce the next speaker, head of this institution in her own institution. Though each and everyone over here are aware or needs no introduction about her, but there are few audience in the YouTube channel who may require her introduction, and I request each and everyone to subscribe our YouTube channel, which is live streaming our program today and in future also. And also I request to click on the bell icon to subscribe our YouTube channel. With honor to introduce the next speaker, Dr. Sridevi Annapurna ma'am, Director, CSAR CFTRI, who did her MSc and PhD in Food Science from Mysore University with 31 years of experience, of more than half the lifespan of us is CSAR and CFTRA in this one, and also she has worked in Kisan Products Limited, Bangalore, and she is members of various task force committees, Task Force for Nutritional Sector, Government of India, Task Force of Chair and FSSI, Indian Methi and Namkeen, Chairperson, Task Force on Enhancement of Shelf Life of Millets of the International Year of Millets 2023, expert in food science and technology, Aligarh Muslim University, member of DBT Task Force on Public Health and Nutrition, Chairperson, FDA of BIS, Governing Council member of National Agri Biotechnology Institute, Governing Council member of CIAB Mohali, Board of Studies in Biochemistry and Molecular Biology and Food Science and Technology of Mysore University, Vision Group of Biotechnology, Government of Karnataka, member of Scientific Advisory Committees of ILSI India, and many more committees are there, which I am not going. And awards, to name a few: Best Paper Award, Best Technology Transfer Awards, Karnataka State Award for Performance in Graduation, Gold Medal, Professor Rajashekharayya Memorial Award, Lady Mirza Award, Professor Chamina Memorial Award for securing the highest marks, and many more. And she has been invited at various summits, to name a few in France, and most in international conferences, and many of the national conferences. She has more than 50 publications, more than 3 book chapters, and 11 Indian patents, 2 US patents, and 6 technology developed, and she has transferred 40 technologies for different entrepreneurs, 6 PhD students, and various guides for other MSc and other thing, and to name few of the fellowships: DAD fellowships, Young Scientist Travel Award, INF Craft Fellowship Award, and Exchange Scientist Visit to Finland, and her area of specialization, which is very interesting: supplementary foods, high protein foods and ingredients, food grade enzyme production, purification and characterization, mode of action of nutraceuticals, oil seeds and technologies. Which this brief introduction, I welcome Madam for the next speech. Thank you very much.
A very good morning to all present. Today's chief guest, Professor Kausalya, thank you for coming all the way from Coimbatore. Indeed, it was a pleasure listening to you, and you transported many of us back to the classroom. And I was thinking I'm listening to a nutrition class today. So, and you also probably did not leave much for me to say, and I do not know what I should speak now, but let me try. It was good that you touched upon undernutrition, overnutrition, and how to solve the problems. But I thought, since it is an AFSTI organized lecture, we need to also look at the food industry and the consumers and what is trending in them, and how to integrate our nutrition knowledge with that. So, though I was given this broad title of malnutrition and asked to speak for 30 to 40 minutes, I know there's no way I can even do justice to just defining the word malnutrition in that much time. So I have a little bit tweaked the title to make it a little cryptic also, and let's see how many of you will get it. But I thought initially, when India, we need to look at the relation between diet and disease. I think the recent pandemic has also taught us that we cannot take the food we eat very lightly. This body has come to us free of cost. It is maintenance free, provided we, like Madam said earlier, that we are stress free, we have sufficient physical exercise, we eat the right kind of food as per our age and RDA. Nevertheless, if we don't do that, what happens is it could result in disease. So earlier, probably many of us were thinking that you pop a pill and you are good to go. But the pandemic also has taught us that we need to take care, and probably from birth itself, or even the mother's health is very, very important if we need to be healthy in our later life. So diet and disease are very intricately related, and any kind of disregard in this aspect would either lead to undernutrition, where a lot of deficiency diseases could be there, or it could lead to overnutrition. That means that we are eating the wrong kind of foods. So you want protein, but you are eating a lot of calories. You need vitamins, again you're eating calories, and so on. So the body keeps storing it in the form of fat. And this fat can be a very active fat and act like a hormone, and therefore it can cause a lot of metabolic disorders, including the metabolic syndrome, that if neglected can lead to diseases like diabetes, cardiovascular, and so on. And some of the figures that were projected are very, very scary. If we are going to lose 20 years of our lifetime earnings just on medical facilities, just imagine what kind of a quality we are leading. Add to that, probably our country is also losing a lot because our hospitals will be full. And add to that, our GDP is also going to be affected. So though nature might have designed us to earn a certain potential, we are not going to enjoy that. So our quality life is going to be affected. So when India became independent, probably this was the background when there was the Bengal famine and World War II. And at that time, the more focus was on safety. So we wanted to save whatever grains, especially microbial losses should not be there. Maybe insects would eat it, and rats and so on. So you needed to save post-harvest losses, and at the same time you wanted to ensure that people got sufficient quantity. This is what I meant by 1S, 1Q. You wanted safety in the food, and you wanted the quantity to be eaten. That was the focus at that time when India became independent. And incidentally, in 1950, this particular institute was also conceived under those founding principles. And self-sufficiency in food was more focused upon. Then came the several revolutions, be it the Green Revolution, followed by the White Revolution, the Blue Revolution, and so on. And slowly India has become a net exporting country and not so much an importer of food. So we are having a large amount of excess buffer stocks, and today we are even in a position that we can help other countries because of the pandemic if they are suffering. And this is thanks to the great efforts of many of our scientists, especially Dr. Swaminathan, who led the Green Revolution to get varieties of rice and wheat which could be grown in large quantities. But in that process, what happened, the food industry also developed over many decades, and slowly convenience became a priority. So many people stopped eating whole grains, because when you use whole grains for processed foods, there are certain substances in them, certain enzymes, like it could be lipases, which will lead to deteriorative condition of the food. And it could be that they also react, like iron is there, or maybe some other mineral is there. They can react with the other co-nutrients that are there and result in color darkening or adverse flavor formations and so on. So the easiest way the food processor could increase the shelf life of the food and also ensure that the sensory quality is the same is by two things. One was to remove the outer layers of many of the grains. So you ended up with only having starch. So you had a little bit of protein, you had starch, and then you would add a lot of high amounts of fat and sugar and salt to preserve these foods. At the same time, you also needed to add a lot of additives. It could be synthetic colors, it could be flavors, it could be emulsifiers, and so on. So the past few decades, we have seen that consumption of these ultra-processed foods has led to what we today call the lifestyle-related diseases.
And many people in India, I mean, we are the global leaders of cardiovascular disease. Probably we have 1 in 4 who is diabetic and so on. So these highly processed foods, now we have realized that too much of consumption and with the kind of sedentary lifestyles that we are leading is going to cause a lot of problems. Now coming to India, if you look at every population, I mean, be it the segment where children are there, women, men, it could be poor, urban, you do find malnutrition. And this malnutrition includes both undernutrition as well as overnutrition. It has already been said that we have a large population which is anemic, we have a large population with protein energy malnutrition, we have a huge population which is obese, and just that India has a large population, our numbers do look big, although in terms of percentages, probably they are quite small. So today, if you look at the nutrition scenario, you have this triple burden. It is undernutrition, micronutrient deficiencies, as well as overnutrition. The government has realized this, and a huge amount of money is allocated in the budget to treat both of them. But at the same time, we are also seeing it is a concern to the government, because one is our health burden is very huge, and our health system can collapse if we have too much of a burden on it. At the same time, at the individual level, the productivity losses are so high that even our GDP is affected. It is not just the nutrition or the food we eat, but also the kind of water, the sanitation, and so on, which are also extremely important. And we do find that in our country, there are many challenges to address these issues. So if you look at only the malnutrition deficiencies and determinants, it is not just the hunger per se, but also that there are many people who are ignorant of healthy diets. I'm sure if we were to keep on this table, right in the front, you keep all greens and carrots and beetroots and everything that is healthy. And behind, if I keep chocolates and ice creams or something like that, and ask this hall to come and pick up whatever they want, it is very likely that the last row would be picked up first. So it is not because we are not having an idea, it's not because we want to punish our body, but many times we may be ignorant about what exactly our body requires in terms of nutrients. So many times it is the ignorance of the diet itself which could lead to unhealthy snacking and food. It could be water, sanitation, hygiene. It could be that there are inadequate investments in health and other sectors. Sometimes you find that in certain cosmopolitan cities, every street will have a wonderful hospital. But there could be other cities where you do not have these facilities. It could be the lifestyle that we lead. Often we are stressed out. By evening, many of us have a headache. We don't want to even talk to people. Though we go home, most of us are sitting with our mobiles in front of the TV. The TV is doing its job. The mother is looking at the mobile. The child is playing on the computer. The father is looking somewhere else. I mean, none of us are really even communicating. So how does the stress go away even? It doesn't. So similarly, we may be having habits like smoking and alcohol, or snacking on high-fat, high-sugar, high-salt foods. It could be that there is a less amount of infrastructure, technology, services. Many of us may not be aware that we have an ailment. Often, when you go home evening with a headache, you may not think that you are anemic. You may just think that I'm too tired, let me sleep, tomorrow I'll be better. So the body does have a kind of repair mechanism during our sleep, and it tries its best to maintain homeostasis. So the next day you are likely to feel a little better, and we carry on till finally one day we just faint or collapse or something. And by that time it is most likely that it could be too late to reverse the situation even. There are many schemes of the government. Often you find that the supply chain could be fractured, or the logistics could be affecting the way they are implemented. And given that we have a very huge size of population, we have many states, each state has its own kind of traditional diets. So the same taste is not acceptable in all the states. But for implementation of a government policy, it is very important to have a uniformity. Otherwise, the logistics get affected. So often you find that the schemes may not find their potential results because in Karnataka they want sambar and rice, maybe in Haryana they want puri and sabzi, and somewhere else you want boiled rice, some other place you want noodles and so on. So the logistics is very, very difficult. And of course, unemployment, poverty, and all of these also do come into effect, the social, this one. So when you look at nutritional challenges, we have to keep in mind, as earlier Professor Kausalya said, the nutritional needs. She had shown this table as to what we should be eating as per our age, gender, and the kind of lifestyle that we are leading, and probably the health status of the person. I will talk about this a little later on the protein quality, and then there could be that many people today we are finding that they have special needs. Some of us, it is predicted that 1 in 100 is having gluten intolerance in our country, and many of them could be having celiac disease even, which is even more pronounced. But we nevertheless continue to consume wheat without that knowledge, which could be doing a lot of harm to our body. So there could be many such conditions, and for that we do need to have foods, and the food industry needs to think about how such targeted population can also be catered to. And finally, of course, especially in India, affordability of the diverse menu in our plate is very important. We all know that half a plate has to be fruits and vegetables. We need to eat a little bit of dairy. We need to eat maybe 1/3 of cereals and grains. But if it is too expensive, I would go for the cheapest available, which means that probably polished rice. Today you find that brown rice is much more expensive because people have started consuming that, and it doesn't have a good shelf life. So unless the processor and the technologist and the industry finds solutions to make sure that they are able to get shelf-stable, cost-effective products, people are likely to continue these habits, what they are doing. So when I talk about menu diversity, we have to understand that there is no single source that has all the required nutrients as per our RDA. Because the plant is not doing a social service. Usually it is making the seed for its own baby plant to grow. So nowhere you will find that all what a human being needs are packaged into one food. We have to understand that, and that is probably the reason why when you look at our traditional diet, it used to be that there was a lot of diversity. Maybe we would say it is a full moon day and therefore you don't eat these foods. It is a no moon day, therefore you have to eat these foods. It is night, I am going to eat only fruits. Maybe on a Saturday you skip some particular things on the menu. Some days we do not eat meat. All of these were probably to ensure that menu diversity was there on the plate. Rather than giving it a religious kind of explanation, it was probably to inculcate discipline in our eating habits, that our elders ensured that. And always, I mean, in my childhood, none of us had refrigerators in our homes. Probably majority of the audience sitting over here would not even understand that if there is no fridge, what would you do? But I have personally used to go with my parents to the shop every day, walk, and buy the vegetable of that season, come back, it would be cooked, and it is done. The next day, it is not eaten at all. If there was any rice left over, it would probably mixed with curd and milk and put in a mud pot, and next day's breakfast was ready. Today, Nobel Prize winning and functional foods in UK are talking about this particular dish. that fermentation using milk and rice and keeping it overnight and so on, but that used to be a traditional food not so long ago. I too remember that. So there are many such practices which were good, and because of technology and many other conveniences, we have changed over, and this has led to some of the ill effects that we are seeing. Again, we do need specific nutrient supplements which are usually missing in our diet, especially in India, because many of us depend on vegetarian sources. Many of you may say that you're non-vegetarian, but most of our nutrients do come from the vegetarian part of our plate. And like vitamin B12 and omega-3 fatty acids, wherein you do not find these particular nutrients in many of the vegetarian sources. Of course, we need exercise, water, stress-free living, and so on. So now I come to the 2S and 2Q. What do I mean by that? So if you look, many of our youngsters are very much worried about the planet today. They are scared that the kind of climate changes that we are seeing, the kind of greenhouse gases emissions that are there, all of this is contributing to a very bad effect on the planet. We are losing biodiversity. We are eating the same kinds of foods, but the food that is grown, nearly 40%, 30 to 40% of it is wasted. So just reconversion of that food waste, again, recycling is resulting in the emission of a large amount of carbon dioxide and greenhouse gases. A lot of water is required for agriculture. Most of the arable land that is available on the planet is being used for agriculture, and unfortunately most of that goes waste also. In fact, India is amongst the top countries, again, where you see that there is emission of greenhouse gases, and a lot of food is wasted during our supply chain from farm to fork. So we need to rethink the way we eat and not really also pay attention to the nutrition that we are getting. So you have a double whammy of challenges over here, that you need to take care of the planet, you need to check the biodiversity loss that is there because of more and more agricultural land being claimed instead of the forests that are there, the degradation of soil that we are seeing, our marine resources are suffering, and so on. All of this, at the same time, we also need to look at nutritional security. So we have to keep in mind, what does the consumer want? Only then can we really make a difference both to their nutritional status as well as our planet. So if you look at that, this stands for now sustainability as well as quality. So apart from safety and quantity, we need to look at the quality of the food as well as sustainability of the planet. So the consumers today are demanding that they want to eat plant proteins. We have to see from the nutrition point of view whether plant proteins are the right ones, how much of it should be eaten, what are the challenges or what are the advantages, and so on. Then gut health. Again, I think CFTRI, most of you are aware that the gut is, microbiome is going to define your health status even in your 40s and 50s. So it is important to maintain a healthy gut. Weight management. Again, most of the metabolic syndrome problems are because of weight mismanagement. Immunity, personalized nutrition. How do we think of the future food and how do we process it so that we retain these nutrients and also actively age? Again, people of my generation at least know that our children are not going to take care of us. We better take care of ourselves. So we need to be healthy and we need to take. So coming to protein now, you will find that most of the plant proteins can be grown with lesser amount of emissions as compared to animal proteins. They also require less amount of water. So one such solution is insect proteins. You do find that insects grow very fast and their conversion of feed to protein is very high. as compared to other animals. And they're also great sources of iron. But it may not be acceptable to many of us. I mean, just looking at a cockroach, we run 10 miles. Though the cockroach, if it had a chance, it would run even further, probably, looking at us. But culturally, many of the countries do not accept insects as food. So another such is millets. Now, millets, if you look at it, it is having a good protein content as compared to white rice, and it is a climate-smart crop, because it is probably the last standing crops in a drought, and it needs very little water to grow. Again, it is not processed as much as many of the cereals that we consume today, like wheat and rice, and therefore it has a larger amount of micronutrients that is present. And add to that, the carbohydrate in millets is probably more complex, which means that the glycemic index is lower. And therefore, it will have a better satiety for the consumer, and they will not feel hungry so often. And they will be able to resist hunger, which means it will help during weight management. So, CFTRI has done certain scientific studies, and this I present is from Dr. Maleshi, who used to work as scientist in the Grain Science and Technology Department, where he found that finger millet seed coat matter had a very good effect and a positive effect in amelioration of diabetic conditions, especially cataract formation in rats, and also on kidney histology. So both of these are studies that were done in CFTRI, which shows that probably what is traditionally known, we can validate these things. Now, our protein sources do come from pulses. All of us have a lot of pulses in our diet, which we mix with cereals. It could be either roti or with rice. And often we find that especially the plant sources of proteins lack lysine, tryptophan, and sulfur-containing amino acids. Depending on the different pulses, it could be different. Apart from this, there are also small proteins in these seeds which are allergenic. And they are also having a large number of anti-nutrients which will prevent their digestibility, the protein digestibility and bioavailability. These anti-nutrients also prevent the bioavailability of many of the minerals that are there, like iron, calcium, and zinc, which is probably the reason why we see a large population having anemia in India. So, like I said, although the younger population today, many of them are turning vegan and they want to only depend on plant foods, if you look at the quality of the protein, you will often find that the animal foods have higher protein quality. The reason is that the animal has already eaten the plant, it has digested that protein, and it has rebuilt that protein, and it is there in that body in the form of muscle or any other protein. So when the human being consumes that protein, it is closer to the need of the human body, and therefore the digestibility is higher in animal proteins. Whereas in the seed, it is primarily meant for the seedling to grow, which means that it will only be broken down when the seed requires that protein during growth. So most of the seed proteins are very high molecular weight, and they are not very accessible to the enzymes which are present in our gut, and this is the reason why the digestibility is lower. So even when you want to harvest these vegan proteins also, what happens is the solubility is very, very low. So though so much of work is going on mock meat and plant proteins, the yields are something in the range of 15 to 25%. You are not going to get more than that from the plant seed flour. So either you need to hydrolyze it and then solubilize it, which will make it more digestible, which means that you are again increasing the cost. And we need to remember, especially for infants and children, nature has designed that milk has to be given, which is from an animal source. So when we talk of plant proteins, we also need to define the age group and who is going to be eating it and how suitable it is for them. So often the quality of this protein is measured by what we call as protein digestibility corrected amino acid score. You find that most of the plant proteins have very low PD-Cas value, which is a measure of the protein quality. But when you talk about adults, healthy adults, then probably soya protein comes closest to animal proteins. Again, CFTRI has done a lot of work on improving the bioavailability, especially for micronutrients. This is the work of Dr. K. Srinivasan, who used to be working in biochemistry department, and he did it will remain soluble because you have not really subjected the protein to a lot of heat treatment and denatured it. In case of protein concentrate, usually the protein is denatured and will not go back into solution. So depending on the kind of application that we are looking, both of these are very good protein ingredients. And again, CFTRI has done pioneering work in this area. In fact, when before the white revolution, we had made the coffee whitener in protein technology department, and that used to be used for making coffee and tea to be added as a whitener. Today, we do find whiteners everywhere, but in the 60s itself, this was made from groundnut protein isolate. So these are the various applications that you can find for protein concentrates. Even at home, just by adding a spoonful, you can increase the protein content of sambar or whichever dish that you are making. So based on now the protein quality, we all know that there are certain essential amino acids that our body cannot make and has to come from the food. And that is why protein quality is very, very important. And most of the plant proteins are lacking in especially lysine, because lysine has an epsilon amino group which is very reactive. It can react with the sugars that are there, especially the reducing sugars, and it will form the browning Maillard compounds. So it is usually lost during processing. So it becomes very important who is the target population. Based on that, a mix and match of these protein concentrates can be made and foods can be prepared for that. Again, plant sources are a little low on omega-3 fatty acids, but they are essential fatty acids, and we do require, again, from 2013 till around 2018, a lot of work was done in this institute, especially on the agronomy of chia seeds, and a lot of farmers were helped to grow this, and today we are looking at trying to make products using these seeds also. But definitely a lot of farmers were able to improve their income by adopting these technologies. Gut health, again, prebiotics or probiotics, the live bacteria or the food for the good bacteria, or a mixture of both, which is symbiotics, can come into our body by the consumption of either fermented dairy products or fiber-rich foods. So if we are able to, if the industry could look at how do we tweak our traditional foods, how can they be modified, and at the same time the taste and the sensory characteristics not be compromised based on the regional preferences, and use some of these kind of technologies like germination, fermentation and so on, or even the addition of some of the nutraceuticals that were touched upon earlier, to see that we are able to deliver them to our people, then also the nutritional needs can be addressed. Again, CFTRI has been working on the isolation of arabinoxylan, soluble fiber as well as insoluble fiber. I think the technology is ready now, and it will soon be transferred to the industry. And this is having a huge global market. Again, this is an example where a byproduct of the industry. So when we talk about circular economy and planet sustainability, we need to also address what is the byproduct that is coming out of our industry, and how do we use that also to get value addition. So this is a good example of that. Then, immunity boosting nutrients. So the pandemic has taught us that we need to have foods which have zinc, vitamin C, so on and so forth. So how do you enrich these and ensure also that the food is still tasty? Often we find that when we add higher amounts of any of these nutrients, whether they are naturally present or we are adding to fortify, often the sensory quality or the shelf life is compromised. So we need technologies to ensure that all of these are there and they are retained during the shelf life. They are not affected during the processing. They are not lost. So there are many such. Finally, based on the kind of health status that we have, the world is moving towards personalized nutrition, depending on what kind of genetic makeup you have, what kind of lifestyle you are leading, how you are able to metabolize your food. You need to have certain foods. You need to eliminate certain foods. And this is now a very big area which the world is looking towards. Even within a family, nobody wants to eat the same kind. It is possible that one sibling needs to have a very different food as compared to another. From processing, again, 3D printing offers a good solution for fortifying, especially, or making a mixture of nutrients as per the requirement and printing it in different shapes and sizes so that they are attractive. It would be useful for either children or even elderly who are very picky about what they are eating. Also, the food industry is trying a lot of non-thermal technologies to process it, at the same time increase the shelf life of the food and ensure that the sensory quality and nutrient retention is there. So better nutrition will be there, the waste gets utilized, and better acceptability is also there. Coming to aging, the food that we eat, often if it is processed too much, add to that there could be adulterants, pollutants, additives and so on. All of them are having a role to play in increasing the oxidative stress in the body. So oxidative radicals are important and they are required as cellular messengers in our body. But if they are too high, then there could be a problem which could lead to cell aging. So we need to have our diet in such proportions that we are able to get sufficient number of antioxidants that are there, which will quench these radicals. And how do they do that? Again, it could be that they have an antioxidant activity, they increase the immune response and so on. All of these can help to decrease aging. So if we want to move from just safety and quantity of food towards safety, sustainability, quantity, as well as quality to ensure nutritional security, then we have to make sure that the food is safe from farm to fork. We have to eat the right quantities as well as quality and ensure sustainability with climate-friendly agriculture and processing. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ma'am, for shedding light on the importance that it's not the quantity, but the quality of food intake that renders a better quality of life. Now, I request Dr. Ashutosh A. Inamdar, sir, Vice President AFSTI, to give away memento to our beloved Director, Dr. Sridevi Annapurna Singh, Director CFTRI, Mysuru. Thank you, sir. I call upon Mr. Basavaraj Mundalmani, Honorary Treasurer, AFSTI, to render vote of thanks.
Thank you. So, as we have came to end of the today's program, it gives me immense pleasure to propose a vote of thanks on World Nutrition Day. First and foremost, I would like to thank our chief guest, Dr. S. Kausalya, Registrar, Avinash Lingam Institute of Home Science and Higher Education for Women, readily accepting our invitation and gracing the World Nutrition Day event in spite of our busy schedule and delivering the talk on nutrition, lifestyle, disease management. Thank you, madam, for your very interesting and thought-provoking talks. Next, I extended my grateful thanks to our respected director, Dr. Sridevi Annapurna Singh, for her talk about malnutrition. I'm sure that all our students and staff will take your keynote address points about the importance of the nutrition for fighting the malnutrition. Furthermore, I express my deep sense of gratitude for your kind consent, guidance, and support to conduct this event. I would like to thank Director DFRL Mysore extending their constant support and guidance of the association. I would like to thank my entire team of the Central Executive Committee who extended their wonderful support for conducting this World Nutrition Day. I thank Dr. Alok Srivastava, President AFSTA, for welcoming the address, and Dr. Ashutosh Inamdar for briefing about the World Nutrition Day, and Dr. Navin Shovan and Dr. Suresh Sakre for introducing the guest. My special thanks to previous EC members, all the AFSTA members, and all the chapters, presidents, secretary, executive committees members for attending this program. I thank all the office staff of AFSTI and Mr. Manohar Computer Center, Mr. Ravi Shankar, Chetan, and Mr. Sunil. I wish to thank all the HODs, staff, and the student of CFTRI, and DFRL, and Mysore University, and colleagues who have taken time out to come and to attend this program. I wish to thank all the academies, industries, personnel, staffs, and students, everyone who are attending this event from different parts of India via YouTube. Thank you, one and all. Now I am requesting you to kindly join us for a cup of tea arranged assembly quadrangle. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Basavaraj. Just one last message. Sorry to hold you. I'm sure that on behalf of AFSTI, we had wonderful forenoon. And I request each such a wonderful messages in such a effective way. It has been expressed by both the speaker. So I'm sure that messages will be taken by you in all earnest seriousness, so that you, not only you, your family, your friends, the messages can be passed on, so that the effectiveness will enhance on the importance of the food, nutrition, and health. And I'm sure that you know the effect of the dhol, DHOL, DOL. I just got a message. D stands for diabetes, H for hypertension, O for obesity, L for lipid disorder. So we know the effect of this dhol. It has been explained so well by both speakers. We also learned that all of us has to do bhangra here. All of us has to do bhangra. Bhangra is okay. I think they told that we have to be active. Nowadays, so many dance forms have come. Like you need to do the aerobic dancing to exhaust and exhume your energy. But what I mean here, bhangra is B for behavioral change. We need to consciously use the behavioral change in our personal life, daily life. H for happiness. Find every occasion to be happy. Don't find any other things. Just find the occasion to be happy, happiness. A, active lifestyle. Whatever way you want to do, running, jogging, cycling, whatever. I see every day the message from Manohar that he has ran about 4 miles, 5 miles. So probably all of us probably need to follow that. Then N for nutrition, we just heard. So effectively our director has presented the what kind of food, why and how. It was so enlightening to all of us, mostly all our young population here. I'm sure that you will carry the message with you. After that, Bhangra has G, glucose control. Because that is the most common lifestyle. We all know India capital. So how to control that through our diet. R, risk reductions for all the things. Either all those prognosis and suggestions has been told by our expert. So we need to do that. Lastly, A, Bhangra, absence from the abuses of the substances. Whatever substances, be it a substance of alcohol or any other things, we need to be taking everything in the moderation. Any food also, we need to take it in the moderation. Thank you for your attention. Dr. Basavaraj missed out a name which was most important, Dr. Shetty. I thank you all for your efforts because you took almost all the efforts for managing the function. Thank you all, and I request all of you to raise to your legs and give a big round of applause to our two speakers for their wonderful presentations. Wonderful presentation. On behalf of AFST, thank you, ma'am, for your sharing your time, because I know that your times are valuable. You were here for almost 3 hours. Thank you for sharing your knowledge. Thank you all. Thank you. Please join for the tea.